Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the St. Tammany Parish Zoning Commission meeting of Wednesday, July the 5th. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Seeger.
Here.
Truxillo.
Here.
Ress.
Here.
McInnes.
Here.
Gaines.
Here.
Doherty.
Here.
Crawford.
Here.
Troncoso.
Here.
Smale.
Here.
Hernandez.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Announcements, please silence all phones and electronic devices. If you disagree with the decision this commission makes, you have the right to appeal it to the council. Appeal cards are over on the right, on my right, there on the railing. Speaker cards, if you wish to speak on an item, you need to fill out a speaker card, and down at the bottom it's marked if you wish to speak or not, and they'll get it up here to us so that we can call it into the speaking. Public speaking, 10 minutes each side with a 5-minute time for rebuttal. You're welcome to stay for the whole meeting if you wish, but you're welcome to leave the building if you wish. Please rise for the invocation by Commissioner Seeger and the pledge by Commissioner Crawford.
Father, we thank you for the privilege of living in a place our forefathers brought forth on a new continent, a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal, where we enjoy a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. We humbly ask your blessings on this commission as we strive to do your will. Instill in us the wisdom to serve this parish in a fair and honorable way as we hear the cases presented to us tonight. Thank you, Lord, for the blessing you have conferred on our parish, its citizens, its elected officials, and all public employees and servants, and pray for your continued favor as we endeavor to serve you and the public. We appreciate and offer our thanks for allowing us to live in the best parish, in the best state, in the best country on the face of the earth. God bless the United States of America. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Yeah, well, gotta wait for it to come up. There we go. There we go. Now,
All right, Commissioners, in your packet, we had the minutes from the January 6th meeting. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to review them. Commissioner Crawford.
motion to accept the minutes.
Motion to accept the minutes by Commissioner Crawford. Commissioner Smale.
I second that.
Second by Commissioner Smale. Please vote.
The motion to accept the minutes carries.
Thank you. All right, the next item is the postponing of cases. Helen?
Yes, the first item on the agenda would like to request to postpone for 1 month 2023-3273 ZC, which is a text change.
All right, let me get my papers straightened around here. Do I need to read that whole thing in? All right, just be that way. All right, this is item 1. The case number is 2023-3273-ZC. It's a text change. Ordinance to amend the St. Tammany Parish Code of Ordinances, Part 2, Land Development Code, Chapter 130, Unified Development Code, Article 5, Overlays, Division 6, Plan Quarter District, Sections 130-1809 through 130-1814, to add Military Road, Highway 190, and Slidell as a Plan Quarter District, Ward 8, District 9. All right, we've got a motion and a and a second. No, we did not on that one. Okay, I've got two cards here. One is Angel Wilkes. You wish to speak? Just, we're going to postpone this. Okay, and you're Angel and Victor sitting next to you? Okay. So just be here next month. Okay. All right. Commissioner Crawford.
Motion to postpone for 1 month.
Motion by Commissioner Crawford to postpone for 1 month. Commissioner Truxillo.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Truxillo. Please vote.
The motion to postpone for 1 month carries.
Thank you.
The second request is actually number 2 on the agenda, 2023-3330 ZC, and we would like to request to postpone until the September meeting.
Postpone until what?
September.
Okay. All right, this is item 2 on the agenda. It's case 2023-3330-ZC. Existing zoning is A1 Suburban District. Proposed zoning is A2 Suburban District. Location, parcel located on the east side of Fussell Road, east of Fitzgerald Church Road, Covington, Ward 2, District 6. It's 1.64 acres. The petitioner is Robert LaCroix, and the owner is Judith LaCroix. This is Council District 6. It was postponed at the June 6th meeting, and we have a request from the owner or from the petitioner?
Yeah, from the owner, correct.
From the owner to postpone till the September meeting. Commissioner Seeger.
I move to postpone until
Vote.
the September meeting.
Motion by Commissioner Seeger to postpone to the September meeting. Commissioner Truxillo.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Truxillo. Please vote.
The motion to postpone to September carries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other ones?
No other request.
All right. All right, the next item is item 3. Case is 2023-3352-ZC. Existing zoning is HC2 Highway Commercial District. Proposed zoning is HC3 Highway Commercial District. Location, parcel located on the west side of Louisiana Highway 1077, south of Bellington Avenue, Covington, Ward 1, District 1. It's .52 acres. The petitioner is Jeff Shane. The owner is Silverback Holdings LLC. It's Council District 1. Staff?
The applicant is requesting to rezone .52 acre from HC2 to HC3 Highway Commercial. The parcel is currently surrounded on the north, south, and west side by HC2 Highway Commercial zoning district and also PBC across the street on the east side. The subject property is a former baseball practice facility that is no longer in commerce. Per the petitioner's application, the reason for the request is to allow for an interior build-out to accommodate the cigar bar with on-site liquor consumption, which is currently not allowed under the HC2 Highway Commercial zoning district. If approved, the applicant will be able to apply for a liquor license with St. Tammany Parish that would include beer, wine, and liquor.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Shane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Council, Commission, rather. Jeff Shane of the Jones Fussell Law Firm, P.O. Box 1810 in Covington, representing Silverback Holdings, which is both the owner of this property and also the petitioner in this case. I have provided you a handout this evening that we'll go through in a minute, but by way of background, this property is on the west side of Highway 1077, probably maybe a third to a half mile south of I-12. Most of you that have traveled that area may remember that there is a very nice commercial development there with a multitude of various stores, businesses, et cetera, sort of in a, it's really more than a strip center, sort of a mini shopping center setup. So this particular property is 0.52 acres, and it actually abuts Highway 1077, but it is a part of that shopping center development that I've described to you, so that it shares common driveways, common parking, et cetera. And on that 0.52 acres is an existing 8,000 square foot building. So we come to you this evening seeking rezoning of the .52 from the existing HC2 to a proposed HC3. And why so? My client hopes to develop 3,000 of the 8,000 square feet in that building into a cigar bar and daiquiri store concept, but one that's probably a little different than we typically see, not just in this area, but in most areas. And so in that regard, I would ask you to take a look at the packet that I provided you. And if you would, if you get through the first 3 sheets and get to the next packet, which is a series of photographs that generally depict the style and decor that my client hopes to create within this establishment, suggesting that he would like to build really an upscale facility where people would feel comfortable to come recreate. As I have learned, apparently there are many that enjoy smoking cigars, but they enjoy smoking cigars with others in a facility that allows, that type of activity. Why can't you do that in HC2? Why do we need to change the zoning to HC3? If we had a substantial food component, a restaurant, a kitchen type use, where I believe 50% of the revenues would be derived from the food production, food sale, you could do those things in HC2. This facility will not have a classic kitchen. There certainly will be small bites or perhaps appetizers, hors d'oeuvres, something to complement the drinks and cigars that people will enjoy while in the facility. But we would not achieve the 50% revenue minimum that the code would require in HC2. So for that reason, we need and seek the HC3 zoning. In putting our package together, the first thing that my client did, although he owns this site, he has a relationship, of course, with the other business owners and tenants that surround him. And he literally went to each and every one, presented his concept, talked to them about what he intended to do. And I'm happy to say that all of them unequivocally support this request. We thought it would be good to provide you with some letters of support, namely letters from Mr. Bruno, who's an attorney and actually was the owner and developer of that shopping center, Robert Bruno. Also, Mr. Ballard, the owners of PJ Coffee franchises. Many of us are familiar with the Ballard family. And then also, what about the other 5,000 square feet in this 8,000 square foot building? It's currently leased out to Dan Canaveri, and he runs a baseball training facility in that location called Six Rings. So obviously, Dan is going to be the neighbor in the building. And I had the pleasure of meeting with Dan and my client, I guess 2 months ago, to make sure that he understood what we hope to do and to make sure I understood how he felt about it. I think his letter speaks for itself, but for those in the audience that do not have the letter, I think it's fair to say that he not only thinks it's a good thing, but he thinks it will actually complement his business in some ways, in that some of the parents that might drop kids off for batting or pitching or whatever type of baseball training that would go on, they'll have a place to recreate if they want to go in the same building next door, that type of thing. So the point I'm trying to make is that we think that the proposed use, although requiring a more intense zone, is going to be very compatible from the eyes of the people that are doing business in this locale already. And I think that's obviously important. The other thing is that I've been around HC3 zoning before, and I understand some concerns that some could have about other permitted uses within HC3. But what I would caution everyone to take into consideration is that this is a half an acre parcel with an 8,000 square foot building. It's not going to be a Walmart. It's not going to be a neighborhood Walmart. And there's nothing wrong with Walmarts and neighborhood Walmarts. My point is that I don't think the scale of any use in this 8,000 square foot building is going to be inappropriate or in some way create impacts as it relates to traffic or drainage or other things that we get concerned about when we upzone a property. Now, a few other details that you might find of interest. This will not be a classic honky-tonk. There won't be concerts. There won't be bands, that type of thing. In fact, most evenings, the facility will close at a relatively early hour, 8, 9, or 10 o'clock in the evening. It certainly may stay open till midnight on Friday and Saturday night. We envision approximately 3 employees max at any one time. And we believe that there's a real need in the area for adults to have a facility such as this. And it's a somewhat different way of viewing it, but if you have people that might be interested in going out, enjoying a cigar and having a drink, if they live in this locale or in this vicinity, this will eliminate any need for them to get on a state highway and or get on the interstate and travel to other locations. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing for them to travel to other locations. I'm only suggesting that I think as we see communities build, to the extent that you have an opportunity to have various types of entertainment, goods, services, et cetera, it allows people to stay within their locale, stay within their corridor, stay within their confines. So with those things having been said, hopefully I've given you a decent picture of what we hope to create, a high-quality facility going to be run by the owner of the building, of the property, who's going to have a very careful eye to make sure it all works and that it's compatible, and hopefully will be a strong asset to the community in that area. I'd like to reserve the rest of my time in case I need it in rebuttal. Otherwise, I'll be glad to entertain any questions that any of you may have later in the hearing. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shea. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor of this case? Anyone wish to speak against on this case? All right, we'll close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Truxillo.
Mr. Shea, please come up.
Yes, sir.
I know the shopping center very, very well. My wife goes to the nail salon over there quite often. And I was there today looking around at it and everything. How old is that building? 4 or 5 years old? 5 years old. It's a fairly brand new building. And this is a case, commissioners, where a AC2 will not allow a bar type thing, just like a drop-up window. And being only 0.52 acres, there's not other things that can be built on there or all the bad stuff that could happen in HC3. You know, I think this is a plus for that shopping center because you got 3 restaurants there. And I know a lot of parents that brings the kids to this baseball place and they either sit in the car or sit at PJ's. Myself, you know, I think it's a good idea, so I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Truxillo to approve. Commissioner Crawford.
I'll second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Crawford. Commissioner McInnes.
Will there be any outside seating?
No.
No outside seating? Okay. Okay, that was my comment for you, my question for you.
We would love to have outside seating, and there may be an opportunity in the future, but the present plan, it would all be indoor. if and when we can develop a patio opportunity, we may pursue that, but that's not initially.
Okay.
Anything else, Neil?
I guess not. Thanks.
Okay. Commissioner Troncoso.
I guess I have a question regarding the zoning ordinance itself. Cigar bar, upscale. What is the minimal requirements? I guess the question of mine, what happens when this goes away and the property's zoned for a bar? And a bar that's basically the shopping center is adjacent to a residential subdivision on a 2-lane road. It's not a high-profile road, but it's a 2-lane road. It's a state highway, I believe. Is there any requirements or any? I think the idea of it all conceptually is very good, very nice. I don't smoke cigars. I used to, but I don't anymore. But I guess the point is that we're changing the zoning that would have an effect in the future on the property adjacent to a subdivision on a 2-lane road with high traffic. The traffic volume and speed limit there is pretty strong. Is it reasonable? But it just doesn't seem to be, the cars are flying on that street. I guess I have a problem with the concept of zoning without the opportunity of allowing something like this to be developed, but with the idea that if it goes away, that something could be done to effectuate some control over the property. And we don't have that, do we?
No. And that's true with any time we do a zoning change. Okay, if it changes from A to B, and then somebody comes in and says, oh, I don't want B, I need to go back to A, then, they have to go through the zoning process to go back to A. This would be the same thing.
I mean, all the letters, this is very good, Mr. Shane, the letters from the businesses, these are very good, but these are businesses and they're not adjacent. PJ's is across the street, their offices are across 1077 from this property, and it's good that, that the business community appreciates and supports this. I'm surprised that there's no one from the subdivision that's adjacent to this shopping center is here tonight to voice something. I would have rather seen something from the HOA saying that they support this than just the businessmen in the area. I just have some concerns relative to this. I just think we're tagging on to something that in the future could become something, we don't know how successful it will be, and, for that matter. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Conceptually, great, fine. I just worry about, taking something like that and changing it and with the idea of that it could become something that wouldn't necessarily be a good thing. Anyway,
Mr.
those are my
Shane,
thoughts.
if you would like to respond to Commissioner Troncoso's comments, it'd be, up to you and your client to have contacted the HOA in this particular case, but it's not a requirement.
No.
So I'm going to let you respond to his comments.
Well, we did not contact them, and I'm not sure it's our legal obligation, particularly in light of the abutment ordinance that the council passed 3 years ago. I can tell you there's been a nice big hot yellow sign out front.
Okay.
And all that traffic that you talk about, it would be hard to imagine that they did not see that sign for the last maybe 10 days or however long it's been posted, 2 weeks. I would like to suggest, though, perhaps there's a reason that there's not a lot of residents out, and that is I think that many of them look forward to this because word's out, and I think many of them know that they actually have the insulation of the shopping center itself between this facility and the property. If this venture does not work out, I would suggest to you, I'm just asking my client, that 5,000 square foot building at $300 a foot is about $1.5 million investment. My guess will be is that something very nice will end up there because of the value of the building and its location and the number of people that live in that area. I don't think you can ever discount the possibility that if this venture does not work, how do we know what's going to be there? But I would also suggest that it's equally possible that this venture will be very successful. It will provide a real benefit to the people in the area. It provides employment opportunities and property tax and sales tax opportunities. And I think, again, if you look at the environment there, everything from the interstate south, it really sort of fits in because that is becoming a community. It's kind of interesting for those of us that have been around for a while. There was a time when that portion of 1077 was rice fields and woods and pasture, things of that nature. But now it's not, and so we think it's a good opportunity. The other thing I would add to this is that the large tract across the street, which I think Helen mentioned in the staff report, is zoned PBC, and I know you're familiar, PBC2, actually. So if you take a look at what Parish has already determined is an appropriate land use across the street, that is high intensity as it relates to office buildings. It can be residential buildings. It can have hotels, motels, restaurants. So my point is that I think we're going to see an environment there where we want to bring people to that area for a variety of services. We hope that this is a service that you as a commission agree is deserving of HC3 and that you'll make that recommendation to the council.
Since I still have the floor, Commissioner Truxell, I appreciate your insight relative to this development. One thing to understand is that even though the size of the building and the parcel itself is very small, it has common area and common use of easement and servitudes over I'm assuming over most, if not all, of the shopping center. So from that standpoint, there's an unlimited amount of parking that could be had relative to anything. One other question regarding this is regarding this zoning is live music. Is live music something that is permissible in this zoning classification?
Yeah, yes, it is. Indoor live music, yes.
It is?
But no live music.
No live music?
We are not going to have any live music.
No. I'm talking about the ordinance itself, though, Mr. Shane.
No, well, the decibels, sure, but this will be a fully contained facility.
I understand.
I thought I heard you say live music, and I didn't want there to be some belief that that's what we intend to do. But you're correct, we're going to have to meet the sound ordinance, the decibel readings at the perimeter, the property line. And we're confident we can do that because we'll be within closed doors. And quite frankly, this type facility will have maybe not soft, but softer type music anyway.
Thank you.
Anything else, Ron?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Truxillo.
This is the staff. In HC3 on 0.52 acres, what can be built there if they tear this building down? What can be put there in that small area?
I mean, it could be another bar, or it could be anything that is actually allowed under the HC3 zoning district. If you want to give me a moment, I can pull it up. If you'd
Please.
like me to give you a list of, actually, it is on the staff report.
Yeah, but all of it can't, on that small acre, everything. Yeah, size, I'm talking about size-wise.
Oh, maximum size, well, let me go back to give you
Well, I'm getting at the limit number of size of the property will limit what can be put there.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, due to the small size of the property, you would never be able to, develop it to the maximum allowable size. The HC3 highway commercial allows up to 250,000 square feet.
And that won't fit there.
Definitely not. You would have to go quite high for that. But you could have auto service station and sales, indoor recreation, a movie theater, storage facility, commercial recreation, hotel with 100 rooms or more, a bar, a lounge, entertainment, bus, a truck terminal. You could have portable storage container sales, crematorium, cemetery.
Yeah, but all that would be much larger property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner McInnes.
I just wanted to say I agree with Commissioner Troncoso. I had those same sentiments and was hesitant to voice them, so I'm glad you did. I pass by this area all the time, and it's a growing area by the interstate, but after that, it's pretty open, still a rural feel to it. But I looked up the businesses, the types of businesses, because we often look at, how does it fit in the neighborhood? And we have PJ Coffee, haircuts, Chinese wok, nails, fitness, snowballs, a mortgage office, graphic sign business, and a vet hospital. And pizza. Yeah. So I thought, okay, cigars and alcohol, does this fit? And I'm struggling with it, to be honest. On like you said, on a busy highway. I was really hoping to hear from the neighborhood, and I'm glad to hear the businesses, but they may be thinking this is going to help their business, and they may not be thinking beyond that. So I have nothing against the cigar bar. I'm just thinking downtown Covington or some other downtown area might be a better fit than out on a how you have to get in your car. And I'm thinking about in your car after your kid is done playing baseball. Is that a good mix? I'm struggling with it, to be honest.
Commissioner Reyes.
Well, I think Commissioner Troncoso is spot on when he brings up the issue of it's a zoning change. Forget about what they're going to put in there. That has no bearing. We're talking about a zoning change and what can be there. But the part of the subdivision behind it, I have the least amount of concern with. I think there's enough buffer between this building and that subdivision that would be satisfactory for almost anything that would go in there. So I see no issue with that. The bar part of it was the part that the potential for a bar there under the HC3 had a concern. Not the cigar, doesn't matter what kind of bar it is. But, so if you drive around our parish and you look for bars, a lot of them are on roads, major roadways all over. And right now, if anybody who still has a desire to go to a bar that lives in that area, they have to drive some distance to go to one. So we can make them drive farther to get their drink and be on the road longer. In the end, they're going to do what they're going to do. It's not us it's not our responsibility to monitor. It's more about, does the HC3 zone fit there? And in my opinion, it's not really a bad fit for that area. It's just that we're getting hung up on the bar. And I think that's not for necessarily our concern in my mind. I agree with, having a bar and kids coming out. That's the parents need to figure that out. I'm not here to supervise the parents. If that's what they think they want to do, that's their responsibility, not mine. I'm not responsible for all the decisions they make in life. Do I think it's a good fit? Maybe not, but that's
it may not ever even be that. It's just an HC3 zone we're talking about here. And we often, or too often, get caught up in what the proposed development's gonna be, and a lot of times they never even happen. So it goes back to the zoning, which I think is spot on. And I don't think the zoning necessarily is improper for this area. I think if there's a planned business campus across the street, it's the stuff that's already there. It is a developing area. It is on a state highway. Where else do we let HC3 go if we're not doing it on state roads? You want it on Brewster? No, I don't think so. You know, do you want it on? So in the end, to me, is this the right zoning for this area? In my mind, it is.
Okay. There's no one else in the queue, so I'll call for a vote. Please vote.
Ms. McInnes? The motion to approve carries.
All right, we go to page 2, item 4. Case is 2023-3361-ZC. Existing zoning is A1 Suburban District. Proposed zoning is A2 Suburban District. Location, parcel located on the west side of Hill Road, south of Celia Brumfield Road, Folsom, Ward 2, District 3. It's 4 acres. The petitioner is Mary Ann Morris Perry. The owner is Mary Ann Morris Perry. This is in Council District 3. Staff?
The applicant is requesting to rezone the 4-acre parcel from A1, which requires 5-acre parcel sizes, to A2, which requires 1-acre parcel sizes. The subject property abuts A1 Suburban District on all sides, with manufactured housing overlay on the south, east, and west sides of the property. If approved, the applicant would be allowed to place 1 dwelling unit per acre on a 4-acre parcel, or they can apply for a minor subdivision to allow for the parcel to be divided in a variety of configurations that are a minimum size of 1 acre. Per the petitioner's application, the reason for the request is to apply for a minor subdivision to separate 2 2-acre parcels.
Thank you. Are the Perrys here?
Right here.
Okay. Come to the mic, please. Good evening to you.
Hello, everyone, yes.
You
Well,
wanna
I came here, I'm the owner of the land, Mary Ann Perry, Morris Perry, and I have my brother Leon. He would like to have a mobile home on 2 acres of land, and so I would like to have a re-subdivision for that purpose. And then in the future, I have 3 other relatives that would like to get an acre of land each. So I would like to present that to in the future.
Okay.
And that's needed for him to have a place to live. Right now, he does not have a place to live. He's just living with someone.
Okay.
So
Would
I
he like
him-
to speak? I mean, he's welcome to. Okay. All right.
He'd just like for me to speak in his behalf.
All right. Let's see if anyone else in the audience wishes to speak in favor. Anyone wish to speak against? I'll close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner McInnes.
Parcel records for this area, and there's a lot of smaller parcels, so I move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner McInnes to approve. Commissioner Seeger.
Second that motion.
Second by Commissioner Seeger. Any further discussion? Please vote.
I would like to, so do I have the approval to divide, to have a survey too later on, so the land will be divided, like I have my brother Mitchell Morris, like 1 acre, and then my sister Jemima Ferguson, 1 acre.
Ma'am, you can take all that up after the fact.
We can do that
What we're
after the fact.
voting on doesn't have anything to do with that.
Okay,
Okay?
So that could be done later.
All right, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for the proof.
All right, I'll call for the vote. Who's not voted? Everybody voted?
You,
Slam,
Mr. Troncoso, and
Truxilla?
yours.
You voted twice, huh?
Oh,
I guess it works fine.
yours isn't showing up.
We're blinking. We're blinking. Mine's not blinking anymore. Hit it again.
I'm blinking.
3 times.
Okay. Now McKinnis and Rest is on. You want me to go back? Start over?
No, let's just do a verbal vote for Seeger, Rest,
Early
and
vote often.
Seeger, Rest, and McInnes. Verbal vote?
They voted.
We voted like 3 times.
I know, but
What's your
it's,
vote?
it's not showing up.
Yes.
Okay. Tom, yes? McInnes, yes? Okay.
Okay, the motion to approve carries.
All right. We go to item 5, cases 2023-3363-ZC. Existing zoning is A4A, single-family residential district. Proposed zoning is A4A, single-family residential district, and MHO, manufactured housing overlay. Location, parcel located on the east side of Berman Street, north of Coast Boulevard, Slidell, Ward 8, District 12. It's .14 acres. The petitioner is Rachel Villegas. Owner is Alphonse and Rachel Villegas. Council District 12. Staff?
The subject property is comprised of .14 acres and is currently undeveloped. It abuts a mobile home. The subject property abuts a mobile home to the north and south, an industrial office to the east, and a mobile home across Berman Street to the west. The site is located within the Central Park subdivision, which is developed with a variety of stick-built and manufactured homes throughout the area. The adjacent properties on the north and south were respectively rezoned to obtain the manufactured housing overlay in 2015 and 2019. In addition, a property on the parallel Hudson Street was rezoned to obtain the manufactured housing overlay in 2020. If approved, the applicant can apply for building permits to place a mobile home on the property.
Okay, thank you. Is Rachel or Alfonso in the audience? Please come to the mic, one of you. Or both of you, either way. Good evening.
Good evening.
So you're wanting to bring a mobile home in on this small lot, right?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about what you plan on doing, who's going to live in it. and
Well, actually, my husband and I are planning on moving
Get a
into
little bit closer to the
I'm
mic.
sorry. My husband and I are planning on moving into it ourselves.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak against? I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Gaines.
Just looking at the satellite imagery, it looks like it's fairly densely populated with mobile homes already. So seeing that, I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Gaines to approve. Commissioner Crawford.
Second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Crawford. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we go to item 6, case is 2023-3370ZC. Existing zoning is A1 Suburban District. Proposed zoning is A2 Suburban District. Location, parcel located on the north side of $1 Million Road, west of Blaze Road, Folsom, Ward 2, District 6. It's 3.03 acres. The petitioner is Linda Keating Fusell. The owner is Linda Keating Fusell. It's Council District 6. Staff?
The applicant is requesting to rezone the 3.03 acre parcel from A1 to A2 Suburban District. The property is currently abutting A1A on the north, A2 to the east, and to the south and the west is zone A1. If the property is rezoned to A2, it will allow for the owner to petition for potential minor subdivision to create a potential 3-acre parcel out of the existing 3-acre current parcel of land.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Linda Fusell. I live at 79587 Blaze Lane, Covington, Louisiana, and I inherited this 3 acres, which is adjoined to my property, and my property is currently zoned A2. So after meeting with Ms. Lambert, in order to get some kind of right-of-way to this property, I have no way to get to this property. It was donated to me by my mother, and so I have to get a right-of-way from $1 Million Road, so I'll have to go through my property. So she suggested that we go with A2, since my property is A2, already zoned.
Okay, all right. That sounds good to me. All right, I got a couple of cards here. Glenn Fusell,
And that's my,
does he wish to speak? Good evening.
My name's Glenn Fusell, at the same address, 79587 Blaze Lane, and I'm for this rezoning. I own a piece of property east of this, and it is A2, okay?
Okay. And I got a card for Alicia Eason. That's probably not the way to pronounce it either, but good evening.
Hi, I'm Alicia Hessen. I live at 18291 $1 Million Road, which is just east of this property, and it's also zoned A2 as well, so I'm for this.
Okay. And all three of you, of course, are in favor?
In favor.
Okay, all right. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone wish to speak against? Yes, sir. I don't have a card. Good evening. Please state your name and address.
My name is Randall Keating. I live at 79300 Fitzgerald Church Road. My property actually is attached to the north side of her property. All this was family property at one time. I have a problem with the A2 zoning because the only A2 zoning in that area is her existing property, which she rezoned in 2010. All the property around it, except for the 3 acres north of it that was just part of this inheritance, was added to people's property. My brother added his 3 acres to his property, which made it 23 acres. My sister added her property to her 20 acres, which made it 21. Mine was the only piece that you see that is zoned A1A, which was independent, and we had it rezoned because it wasn't physically attached to my property. Her property has a 300-foot attachment to her existing property. If you look at all the properties around there, they're all 20 acres or above. Most all the properties that have been subdivided or looking at being subdivided are 5 acres or more. My concern on this is that her property was zoned A2 back in 2010 as a minor subdivision, and by adding this, it will potentially add 3 more lots to a subdivision in an area where subdivisions aren't. There's only one subdivision that is about a quarter of a mile, I guess it would be east of this property, which was also developed by this lady. And she bought 2 9-acre pieces, had them rezoned, and put a 12-lot mini subdivision in. That is the only mini subdivision in this entire area. And this property, my property, I gave to my daughter, which was on A1A for single-family residence. Now, I was told that she's given this property to her daughter to build a house. So I don't understand why it would have to be zoned A2. It would, if you zone it A2, standalone, it is landlocked unless she attaches it to her property, which will make it 3 more lots for her subdivision. And I would rather see if this is what she wanted for her daughter, since she only has 2 kids, and if she has a total of 23 acres, is to rezone 2 acres, give her a right-of-way for Million Dollar Road, and rezone it back as either A1A or A1, like most all the property is on around it. So that's what my concerns are. I just don't know what the intent is on here. But if the intent is to give it to her daughter, why would you want to have to zone it to A2? Why couldn't you rezone it to A1A as a single-family residence? My brother has property around it, my mother, my sister. We're all concerned that it's going to be another mini subdivision, and that's why I have an issue with this.
Okay,
And
well,
my
I
big concern.
believe I heard her say that was the reason to go to A2 was to get access to it. Helen, you want to address that?
Well-
Why they couldn't go to A1A and get the access?
The A1A is not related to the access itself. You know, the owner could request to go to A1A to make it a legal piece of property. However, she would like to rezone to A2 to be able to create more than one parcel. Of course, she will have to eventually go through the minor subdivision process and find a way to, you know, get access to this property in particular.
Okay, all right. So that answers that question.
Okay, well, I understand that, but she could also, the A2 property that she has existing next door, if the idea was to give her daughter a piece of property to build on, she could also reverse that to ask for an A1 instead of there to give her access to that and make it a 5-acre property, and then it wouldn't have to be rezoned at all.
Okay, thank you.
And my other concern on this is I was told that she has to rezone it to A2 to get a right-of-way. I don't see why she wouldn't be able to provide a right-of-way through her existing, even though it's owned A2, if this was owned A1A for a single-family residence. She could still provide access to it on a right-of-way. So that's my concern. If getting a right-of-way to it is concerning, is she going to would she try to force one of those people around it to provide a right-of-way, since it's a standalone piece of property, a 3-acre standalone piece of property that's landlocked, other than it's attached to her property, existing property, that she could easily provide a right-of-way to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else wish to speak against? Let's go to rebuttal. I'll let you answer all of his questions.
It is landlocked, and I do have to get access to it. And the reason is my property was minor subdivided back in 2010, and this attaches to my homestead where my home is. And in order to get to this property, I would have to go through my front yard. And after meeting with Ms. Lambert, that is not accessible. So in order to get a right-of-way for Million Dollar Road, I have to have it zoned. Of course, you're looking at, you know, I'm never going to be able to divide to 3 acres, because when you can only do a minor subdivision in 5 parcels and you have 15 acres, it's not going to go smaller than that. But the lot on the front of Million Dollar Road is already 1 acre, A2.
Okay,
So,
I understand.
you understand?
Yep.
Any other questions?
Not right now. We may have some here in a minute. The gentleman that was speaking against, do you want to come up and speak in rebuttal?
If you look at the layout of the property, what she is talking about in her yard, there is a culvert on the corner of her property on Million Dollar Road existing. She could come straight down the fence line to access this property. going through her yard, where the road would be entering into this property is approximately 100 yards from the side of her house. So I don't see how that's affecting her yard coming through her house. So I just don't understand why she couldn't do a right-of-way going to this, to connect it to this, the way she's talking about doing it.
Okay, thank you. All right, we've had rebuttal on both sides, and I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Seeger.
I know both parties involved. Our forefathers came over on the Shamrock together in about 1809. They were two of the families that settled in that area. These are siblings that are talking.
Miss Linda, I have a question for you. I'm just going to ask you point blank, flat out. Are you planning on developing this and putting houses in it?
I was planning on my daughter building on this 3 acres, but she has no way to get to it.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about as a sale of property to build a subdivision with 3 or 5 houses, or is this just for your daughter to have a house?
Well, the part that, let me just clarify something. I've never developed anything. I'm not a developer. If Ms. Lambert, and when we did the minor subdivision, in order to get to it from Million Dollar Road, I would have to cross 3 lots that were already designed for my grandkids. My grandkids, the oldest one is 9, the youngest one is 2. So
you don't have any plans of developing this as a subdivision?
No,
Putting multiple
this is all family property. My father gave me this property.
Thank you. Mr. Randall?
And I've owned it for 40-something years.
Thank you. North of Fitzgerald Church Road, there are, I think it's 6 houses. How large are those lots? Do you have any idea? One of them is on Fitzgerald Church, the other ones are on $1 Million, I believe.
You talking about the corner of Fitzgerald
Yes.
Church?
Yeah.
They are approximately,
Wait a minute. He's not recognized you. He asked our staff.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you was referring to me. My apologies.
Do we have that on the map?
I'm sorry, can you rephrase your question? I thought you were talking to the gentleman who's at the podium.
Helen, I'm sorry, I couldn't. The lot, I'm asking about lot sizes on the north side of Fitzgerald Church Road and on the east side of $1 Million Road.
Okay, so if we're looking at the parcel in question, directly to the north, it's zone A1A, which the parcel is zone A1A is facing Fitzgerald Church Road. If we're looking to the east of the parcel in particular, it's zone A2 Suburban. However, to the south and to the west is zone A1 Suburban.
May I approach you, Ms. Helen, without getting in too much trouble?
Maybe Aaron, on her computer, might be a little better.
This is the piece I'm talking about.
Oh, over there?
We don't know how big the parcels are themselves, but Aaron is looking that up. Okay.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about here.
These right here.
No, that's it here.
I understand where they're over here, but these pieces I'm talking about is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, that's.
Do we have the sizes on those?
That's A1. Yeah, it's all. 1, 2, 0.
You got it?
Oh. It says 92 acres.
.92 or 92? I can't tell.
.92. Yeah. Those parcels were created before we changed the zoning.
That's all.
This is 1 acre.
Paint, carpet.
Usually like this.
I think this one was, yeah, I think so.
So in the neighborhood, there are some pre-existing lots that are smaller, about an acre, and there's, that was done before the comprehensive zoning or whatever it was called. There's also one that was 1.92 that was done more recently. There are several properties on smaller on the road. So not all of the property all of the family property still is A1, except the part that Ms. Fussell has already had designated A2 back in, I think it was 2010. But there are smaller properties there in the general vicinity.
Okay.
And I'm not making a motion, I'm just bringing
Okay. All right.
information.
All right.
Can I
We
speak?
have Commissioner McInnes.
Well, I went and looked up lot sizes in the contiguous with this property, and I tend to agree that there's a very rural feel. Most lots are at least 3 acres or 3 acres to 30 acres. You know, there's one that's 14, one that's 16, one that's 5, one that's 30. So it does have a rural feel in the immediate vicinity. There is a series of small .93 acre lots on Million Dollar Road just to the west. But you can look on the aerial image in our staff report and see how it is rural. And, you know, I always like to stick to the New Directions 2040 plan when we can, because the idea is to push development more where we have businesses and growth and not have so much cars on traffic. And just like the previous one I looked and the lots were smaller, I felt like it fit the neighborhood. But I still do not understand, Helen, why A1A, it seems to me, the more appropriate zoning. A1A fits, it's 3 acres. A1A is 3 acres. They're going to have to build an access road regardless of what it's zoned.
That's a fact. You know, here, the planning department is not making a recommendation. I'm just reading what's on staff report and what the owner is requesting. The minimum of A1A would be required for the owner to be able to, you know, make this a legal parcel of land. However, you know, due to access and moving property lines around potentially, that might be the reason for, you know, the request to A2, because the parcel may have to be reduced in size for particular reasons. But, you know, here, the planning department is not making a recommendation.
Well, I think for now, it needs to be A1A to match the 2040, and that would bring this non-complying, legal non-conforming property into compliance and would allow for a single-family residence there. So I would like to move to, what do we have to do?
We cannot change the application. That has to come from the applicant.
Oh, you're right, you're right. Okay, well,
We can make an oral motion, but we cannot change it.
that's my oral motion, and I'm done.
Okay, Commissioner Gaines.
So I do have a couple of questions. First question is for staff. If we rezone this lot that's in question, it doesn't look like that grants access. How does that grant access by rezoning this particular lot? Because there's still a bunch of land south of it that's not in this ordinance or in this zoning application that they would still have to cross. So how does rezoning this give them access to that land?
It does not give them access to the land. Basically, this parcel of land, if I'm not mistaken, was given to the owner. And in order to make it a legal parcel of land and to be able to, in the future, provide access to it, then the property has to be rezoned to the appropriate zoning.
So the carve-out they're just doing the carve-out of the major property right now so that they can, in the future, give a right-of-way to it?
Eventually, yes. However, this parcel has already been carved out and is currently owned, but to make it a legal parcel of land, it has to be rezoned to be able to go through the minor subdivision and eventually create a parcel that will have an access. And the owner could provide additional information because it's her parcel.
Well, she actually referenced you on another clarification I'd like, which is she said that the access road from $1 Million to the parcel land in question was going to cross 3 other property lines. Can you explain that?
Well, the area that you're looking on the map that is zone A2 suburban went through the minor subdivision process in the past. Some parcels were created. And if I'm not mistaken, according to our last conversation, in order to be able to grant access or provide access to that 3 acre, we may, the owner may have to do some reconfiguration because, as we know, a maximum of 5 parcels can use the same private drive. So this is something that will happen in the future.
Okay, so the other subdivisions that were made on this property, is there any kind of minimum frontage that they're going to have as it relates to $1 Million Road?
Yes, according to the A2 suburban, the minimum lot size is 1 acre and the minimum lot width is 150 feet.
Is there enough frontage that you have on $1 Million Road to meet that requirement?
Yes, put one lot, because once I put roads in there, then I won't have, right now, I currently have 2 154-foot lots from the minor subdivision that was created in 2010. But once I put a road through there, I have to eliminate that lot as well as the back part of another lot, as well as the back part of the third lot.
So you have 4 lots here, and you're going to eliminate one of them to make the right-of-way for the other 3. Is that correct?
I'll have to do a whole new minor subdivision, which I will have to go before the council for.
So why didn't we just include all of that in this one go is what I'm asking?
So we have 2 different processes here. We're trying to create this parcel with the appropriate zoning, and then later on, the owner will have to come back and apply for a minor subdivision. So it will more than likely have to come back in front of the Planning Commission when it goes through the minor subdivision process. However, at this time, we're just trying to make it a parcel that would be conforming to the appropriate zoning to move forward with the minor subdivision.
So is that your intention after this, is to move forward and apply for that?
Right, but I was told I had to rezone it first to match my zoning so that I could find a way to get access to it.
Mr. Chairman? May I ask a question to Mrs. Fusel?
Yes.
Okay. I remember our conversation, and I remember your visit in my office. Would you please explain or reconfirm the reason why you're trying to go to A2 suburban? Were you trying to create 2 parcels out of the 3 acres, Or it was because you had to reconfigure
No,
some
the 3
lots?
acres would have to stay as 3 acres.
It's gonna
because
stay
that's
as
the
a
only
3
way I
acres.
can,
Okay.
get 5 lots there would not be accessible.
Okay, so would you like to go to A1A just to make?
I wouldn't have any problem with that. I was not aware with A1A.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for this misunderstanding if that was the fact, and I clearly
I
remember.
just thought after talking with you, I thought you discussed that my property was A2, so this property would have to be A2 because when I do my minor subdivision, one of the lots probably will be, 1 acre or,
As long as it does not affect, or the 3 acre will not be reduced in size. If you have to move
the
property
3
lines
acre will
around.
not be reduced in size.
Okay, I'm glad we cleared that up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Ms.
It's
Keating,
just I have no access to that,
So I believe that you have to make a motion to change your,
Or just request.
to request your proposal.
Oh, I can request it
Yes,
right
ma'am.
now?
Yes,
To
ma'am.
change it to A1?
A1A.
What is it?
ma'am.
A1A? That would be fine.
okay.
Okay, with that, I
And
make
then
a,
I will be able to meet with you, Ms. Lambert, and
Yeah, let's meet next week to make sure we all on the same page in.
as
in
long
that
as it's
regard.
zoned correctly so that I can get with you to get road access. Because I was informed I can't get to it from, my siblings
you.
did not give me any access.
Yep,
They
we got you.
landlocked me. So by doing that, all I'm trying to do is try to go through my property and get access from Million Dollar Road.
no problem. With that, I make a motion to approve with the amendment.
With the amendment to A1A. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Truxillo.
Commissioners, great questions and great result. I second.
All right, we have a second. Commissioner Crawford.
I just had a quick question for the applicant. The property to the south between Million Dollar Road and the piece in question, do you own that property?
South, no, that's my sister's.
Okay, so that's owned by other people in your family, but other people. And that's 3 lots there?
Oh, wait. To the south?
Between Million Dollar Road and the property in
That's
question?
a 20-acre parcel.
Okay. Doesn't look like 20, but, well, right below. Okay. And is that,
That's all, if that's what he's talking about, south of it.
is that owned by you?
About my sister, 20 acres.
Your sister? Okay. All
And
right.
they added a 1-acre parcel to that when she got my mother's house.
Okay. And what's the zoning on that, Helen?
A1.
A1. Okay. Thank you.
My property's property in the yellow A2 on west of it.
Okay, any other questions? All right, I'm going to call for a vote. Please vote.
The motion to approve as amended to A1A carries.
Thank you so much.
All right. We go to item 7, cases 2023-3373-ZC. Existing zoning is A4A Single Family Residential. Proposed zoning is A4A Single Family Residential and MHO Manufactured Housing Overlay. Parcel located on the east side of Selburne Street, north of Coast Boulevard, Slidell, Ward 8, District 12. It's .43 acres. The petitioner is Victor Wilkes, and the owner is Shelley Jacks, Council District 12. Staff?
The subject property is made up of .43 acres and consists of lots 6 through 11 in the Central Park subdivision. Lots 6 and 7 are currently undeveloped, and lots 8 through 11 are developed with an existing mobile home. There are multiple lots within the Central Park subdivision that have obtained the manufactured housing overlay designation ranging from years 2012 to 2020. The reason for the applicant's request is to bring the property into compliance to accommodate a minor re-subdivision. Per the applicant, the future configuration would combine lots 6 and 7 to create a buildable lot of record that would be used to accommodate a mobile home placement on the site. and the remaining lots 8 through 11 would remain the same, but would have the proper zoning designation for the existing mobile home to be in conformance with parish requirements.
Thank you. Are the Wilks or Jacks here? Good evening.
How you doing, sir?
So far, so good. How are you?
Good.
All right, you want to tell us a little about what's going on?
We've had the land for about 45 years. We've had 3 trailers on it already. I have one on it now. I am going to tear it down because it's kind of dilapidated. And I'm going to put new on there, so I'm going to be improving the land 80–90%.
Okay. All right. Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor on this? Anyone wish to, okay, come forward. And you are?
I'm Angel Wilkes. I'm his wife. It would definitely significantly raise the property value around there because we are putting something new on it.
Okay. All right. Anyone in the audience wish to speak against? All right. I'm going to close this to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Seeger.
I move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Seeger to approve. Commissioner Truxillo.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Truxillo. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we go to item 8, cases 2023-3383-ZC. Existing zoning is NC4 Neighborhood Institutional District and A3 Suburban District. Proposed zoning is HC2 Highway Commercial District, parcel located on the north side of US 190 west of Briar Lake Drive, Lacombe, Ward 7, District 11. It's 5 acres. The petitioner is Ryan Wilhoff, and the owner is Marcel Morales, Council District 11. Staff?
The subject property is currently undeveloped and is comprised of a total of 10.61 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone only the front 5 acres facing US Highway 190 to HC2 Highway Commercial. The property abuts undeveloped property zoned A3 Suburban District to the north and east, with said eastern parcel partially being zoned NC4 Neighborhood Institutional District. To the south lies Oaklawn Trace PUD, and to the west sits a residence zoned A3 Suburban District. The applicant is requesting to rezone said 5 acres in the front, which allows for a maximum building size of 40,000 square feet, while the existing NC4 Neighborhood Institutional District allows for 12,500 square feet. The uses differ as far as more intense commercial uses from the NC4 compared to the requested HC2 Highway Commercial District. If approved, the applicant could apply for building permits for the construction of an indoor RV/boat storage facility. Said permits would have to meet all applicable parish requirements.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, sir, and you are?
Hello, I'm Ryan Wilhoff. Sorry. I'm Ryan Wilhoff. I live currently on Timber Bend in Lacombe, Louisiana, in Briar Lake subdivision, very close to the property I am trying to purchase. Recently, I am under contract purchase agreement with the owners of the property on condition of rezoning the land. The property is, 10.65 acres. I'm looking to rezone the front 5 acres to build an RV boat storage facility. The reason for the 5 acres is for safety. I own an RV. I own a 37-foot fifth wheel. So I have owned that for 3 years now. So I am very knowledgeable in parking and driving RVs. You need a lot of room. I currently have stored my RV in 3 storage facilities, all in different areas of St. Tammany Parish, also Mississippi. Right now is where it currently is parked. I feel that there is a need for an RV boat storage facility in this area. The one I used to store my RV first was in Madisonville. It was just a parking lot. Then I wanted to move to an enclosure, which was north of Covington, which is an excellent place. There is nothing like this anywhere in this community or the area of Lacombe. The closest RV storage units that can hold the ones that I'm looking to build and store, big RVs, all different sizes. The closest is there's one in Slidell off of Gauze. The other one is north of Covington, off of, I think it's Ronald Reagan Highway. Familiar? There's another one in Hammond, and there's another one in Pearl River. Properties around my area, we have HOA, so we're not allowed to have RVs or boats in our driveways. So that's why I also think that this is something that could be of very use for the community of Lacombe and St. Tammany Parish. Also the reason for 5 acres, if you look, well, actually, if you turn to page 2, well, page 1 is the cover. If you turn to page 3, I just wanted to point out that I circled in red, there are 4 HC2 zone properties in this area that are within a mile distance. So just wanted to point out that there are other properties with HCs. The zoning is in the area. Then if you turn to the next page, I have a outline, a diagram of what I would like the property to look like. This is one site drawing I've done. On the next page, I also have another site drawing. The reason for the 5 acres is I would like in the front of this property, safety coming off of 190, I would think you would need at least a 150-foot entranceway. I know in this area, I know 190 is a very, it's 55 miles an hour. I also know that Indian Lakes also is 55 miles an hour, and RVs, go into that area. I also know Fontainebleau, also the same, is a camping site, also State Park. RVs go into that area. So I don't see how, I think that this would be okay, especially with a 50-foot drive to safely bring in your RV or anything that you're towing behind it, car or, golf cart. If you look in the front area also with that along that 50-foot entranceway on both sides, I have green space. I would approximately have 2,100 square feet, 21,000 square feet of green space in this front area of frontage. By having this, so it'd be, not cutting down several trees that are big, those would remain there. Also, this is also a buffer I have a local neighbor nearby. This would be a huge buffer for his house, since his house is actually located in the front of this property, adjacent to this property. So the storage unit will be behind him. For such a long space too, I need approximately at least 100 to 80 square feet in between these storage facility buildings. So this would be enough room for anyone to allow to park safely and securely. I have been to units that have been very difficult to park in, so this is a main concern of mine, to make it easy for the customers, no stress. You're coming back from a long drive on a vacation with your RV, you want to just park it and go. If there is concerns, if you're thinking of noise or a lot of traffic with this business, this is a quiet, no noise, minute. People come, traffic-wise, someone may come to see their unit maybe once a week. I do have a statistic. It just says that the average person who owns an RV comes to actually the storage facility they actually go and camp at least 20 days out the year. So this gives you a roughly idea of, me personally, I camp at least probably 6 to 7 times a year. So that would be 12 to 14 times I go to visit, go grab my RV, and leave. So there's not a lot of traffic. As you can see, I would have 40 units on this property. So I don't think that would be a concern. Also, to describe my units that I would like to build, I'd like to build 40 units. 8 units 14 by 25, 16 units 14 by 35, and 16 units 14 by 50. So to accommodate all different sizes of boats, or RVs, campers. Also, if you look at my diagram, not only do I have the safety feature of the 50-foot drive, the entrance, also in the back, I have a turnaround. This is another reason why I'm requesting the 5 acres of property. The turnaround would be very large, so no one will ever have to, of course, back out on 190. That will never be an issue. There will be a safely turnaround in the very rear of the property, and then you can securely go out through the front entrance, which also the property will be gated, will be fenced. There will be a professional security system installed, so that will be, contained. Also, the reason for the 5 acres request is, if you look at, I have my first design of the property, and then I have my second design. The first design is if everything goes as perfect to plan. 10-foot, which we all know sometimes that doesn't happen. Things change. You have to change the way you situate, the buildings on the property. So the second one is, further out, all on one row, still giving enough space, safe space for the RVs and boats to maneuver around and safely exit and enter the property. Also, drainage. I'm concerns about drainage. I've done my research, and I've seen that this property, you cannot bring fill onto this property. Therefore, you needed to build a retaining pond. I'm 100% fine with the construction of a retention pond, and then using that soil to use for fill, to fill underneath these, to complete the structure. Also, I went over how quiet it is and everything like that. And then if you look, just to give an idea, if you keep turning the pages, you'll see I have like a little diagram of just how big the units are compared to each other. And then on the next page, I just have a little diagram that I drew up just to give you a little visual. It's not the best, but hey. So just a little visual of the entrance. It look more like a park on both sides entering off of 90. Nice and clean, landscaped, signs. Also there would also be an office attached to the buildings as well. And then, just some pictures that I found that just gives y'all a general idea of what it basically looks like, Also with drainage, the entire property will not have, we will have concrete driveway entrance. The rest of the property will be covered with limestone. From what I've researched and studied, that's very good for drainage. And of course, I would abide by all the rules, and the St. Tammany Parish, will provide me for the proper drainage on this location and on this property. I also have spoken to the councilman, Arthur Laughlin. I've had a meeting with him, and he is 100% behind this project. He feels like this is something that would be great. Oh, I'm up. For the community, and yes, but thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Anyone else in the audience wish to speak in favor? Yes, ma'am. Come forward.
This is my wife, by the way.
No.
Okay, we're just out of the 10-minute time in favor. Per side.
Okay. The commission has the authority to give you some extra time if this lady would like to, a couple of minutes,
Yes,
something like that.
this lady coming up is my wife, yes. She will also be a part owner, and we will both be, we will be the employees.
Okay.
So it would be self-employed, mom and pop, yes.
I'm mom,
Yeah,
mom and pop.
she's your mom.
Hi, Angela Wilhoft. Sorry, just to clarify something he said, and I'm not sure, maybe the mic cut out. You said 50-foot drive several times. The plan is for a 150-foot drive. Just wanted to clarify that so that the board knows. You did in the beginning, and then I don't know if it's the mic. I'm here as a wife. We're.
Just say yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I do have a card for a person that wishes to speak against Harold Mellering, Jr. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to y'all tonight. I'm here to represent several families in the immediate area. My property is adjacent to his, right on side of it. I'm here to represent the Mitchells and the Dixons, and these are all three properties that are going to be most affected by this development. We don't feel that any of the appropriate traffic studies have been done. As you know, or you may not know, that there are several accidents every month between Dollar General and the entrance to Briar Lake. Given that said, you have Jim Stone right across the street. You have the new subdivision that is incidentally not completed yet. It has approximately 70, 75 homes in it, but it's projected to grow to 165 homes. And that area is going to get much more congested as time goes on. Incidentally, I don't know if y'all have the letter I'd like to submit from the notification letter that Ms. Dixon put forth. Regarding this HC2 zoning, we feel that it is in a very aggressive zoning change for this area, given the amount of traffic that's already and congestion that's already in this area. As I stated, I mean, just last week you had one of the police officers flip their car right in front of Big Lots. Not Big Lots, Dollar General. And with all due respect, I mean, although Mr. Wilhoff's idea is a great idea, we just don't feel it fits this area given the amount of congestion that it would cause, because you have everybody turning in to the new subdivision, my driveway, the Dixon's driveway, the Mitchell's driveway, Dollar General, Jim Stone. All of that is in 300-foot, 350-foot vicinity. And then you're looking at adding another business to bring in campers and boats and RVs that can stretch 75 feet long. If you add a F-250 diesel, a 50-foot camper, and a 16-foot camper behind that, towing a golf cart, which a lot of these campers do. I've seen them all on the interstate. Without the necessary any of the necessary, what's the word I'm looking for? Traffic studies and drainage studies and all of this. I mean, you have people on the other side, on the south side of 190, that right now, if you do anything on the north side of 190, you'll flood those homes out on the south side of 190. And this guy's planning on putting a development in which has a very aggressive zoning change, and in the event it doesn't materialize, we left with a very aggressive zoning change in our backyard. And without the necessary traffic studies, drainage studies, or anything of that nature, we feel that it's not at the appropriate time to grant this zoning change without the necessary studies.
Okay. Anything else?
That's pretty much about it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak against? Come forward. You'll need to fill out a speaker card.
I'm Harold Mellorine's wife. My name is Claire Mellorine. He forgot to mention it. We all have livestock, chickens, goats, ducks, horses.
Speak up a little bit, yeah,
I'm
and I
sorry.
didn't hear your name.
We all have livestock, all of the 3 properties that we're mentioning, and I just feel it'll really invade that lighting traffic in and out. I have chickens, they have ducks, goats, horses, getting donkeys. I mean, it's just a lot of, our normal peaceful life. We feel the property's just only an acre wide. It's just going to be way too congested, in our opinion, with Briar Lake being right here, then that property, our property, the Dixons, the Mitchells across from us. And, and they know, he's a CDL. They know the length of distances and how it's not going to be very easy to turn out. Gooseneck might be because it's in the back of the truck. Trailer hitches, they're even longer. So I just wanted to mention the livestock more than anything because we all have animals and we've got a lot invested into it.
Okay, you need to fill out a speaker card. The cards,
Can I
blank
add
cards are
one?
over there.
Can I add one thing?
Yes.
Also to mention, although he's mentioned a 150-foot driveway in to his place, which is pretty adequate, I would imagine, but between the buildings that he has, you do not have enough room to turn that type of machinery around. 75-foot long vehicle, you just don't have enough room to turn that around. Also, where he's projecting to put these buildings, my house is off the highway approximately 150 feet, so all of his activity at 3 in the morning, you have guys coming there, going camping, they making noise, coming to get their boat, coming to get their RV, is probably about 150 feet away from my house. And personally, I don't want to be awakened at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, constantly for somebody really excited about going on a fishing trip or a camping trip. So that's pretty much all I have to add. Without the proper studies, I think it's the wrong time to grant this zoning change.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else wish to speak against? All right, we'll go to rebuttal. You got 5 minutes on rebuttal.
Hello again. I understand his concerns. I think those are good concerns, but like I said earlier, there would be a massive buffer of trees between where his house is located and the entranceway. Also, these are, if anyone's been to a storage facility, especially with boats and RVs, these are very, very quiet facilities. People come in, they hook up, they leave. I will also have everyone will be under contract too. This place will be open, accessible for 24 hours a day, but there will be a contract of quiet time, and I will have cameras. And so if anyone does anything out of the ordinary, they're gone. Like that, I won't put up with anything like that. And then that's in their contract. Also, with drainage, I'll follow the rules accordingly. And then with as far as the campers and the traffic going out, I don't see it really being a problem. I don't ever see 2 campers at the same time. I think it would be extremely rare for 2 campers to be pulling this, especially with 40 units. And someone, as myself said, I'd only visit my storage facility at least 12 to 14 times a year. So I just want to leave it at that and think, and he also said with the turnaround, that's why I showed y'all I have this turnaround access in the rear of the property where you can make a U-turn clear as day. And I know that I know he said 70-something feet. There's no campers that big. Campers are usually small, a little shorter than that. But this is big enough. This turnaround is actually big enough for a 18-wheeler to turn.
And that's in the rear of the property?
It's in the rear of the property, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, and that is a must, and that's why I'm also asking for so much, 5 acres. So I need to have that turnaround, and I need to have that front drive.
Okay.
Yes. So, and also, I know his concern is, just building, a commercial property there, but he also has to understand that that land is for sale, and those front 2 acres are commercial property. So if not me, someone will build, one day something commercial on that land. Yes. All right. Thank y'all. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. All right. The folks that are against, you're in rebuttal. If you wish to to speak? You have anything else to say?
No, I really don't. I just, with all due respect to Mr. Wilhoff, he's talking about the congestion. You do not live on the highway. We live on the highway. We see the congestion. So we can contest, we can affirm the amount of congestion that is on that highway. And you can go to the Department of Motor Vehicles or whoever holds those records of the accidents that actually happen in that area. It's a very tight area with the way, and me and Helen's been going back and forth with the way they had to stripe that road and remove striping just so the myself and the Mitchells can get into our driveway legally. They had to go back and take striping away. And you can go at any time down 190 and go to pull in the Mitchell's driveway or our driveway, and you're going to get hit. I've had dump trucks go off the road with me trying to turn in my driveway. It's a very, very congested area, and without the proper studies done, I think it's the wrong time to make this hastily decision about granting a very aggressive zoning, because if he deems that this project, after he buys the property, if he walks away from that project, we left with a very aggressive zoning. So that's all I have to say. Thank y'all very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, everybody's spoken in rebuttal, so I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Crawford.
Okay, I see a lot of people in the queue, but I'll go ahead and start off. This one's a little tough for me because I live in the area and I'm very familiar with the area and the intersection and everything that's been said on both sides, the Briar Lake side and also Mr. Mellerin's side. Mr. Wilhoff, I believe that your idea is a very good idea. As you pointed out, need for boat and RV storage is definitely a good idea in the area, in the general, call it a couple of 3 to 5 mile area. Unfortunately, I don't think this is the place. To me, it's a very tough lot to work with and very tough to consider RVs and large mobile homes and all that, I mean, motor homes that you're talking about. I know a lot of my fellow commissioners may not be familiar with Highway 190 in this area, but I just wanted to bring us back to the zoning map that shows the current zoning. And, you know, it's a long piece of property. This is what, a 10-acre piece of property, I believe, or so. It's a long piece of property, and the front 2 acres is zoned NC4, and the back is A3. And Helen, I'd like to ask you the history of zoning, because I think we just did this property a year or two ago. Didn't we do something on the back side of this property?
I think there was a request for a minor subdivision, maybe, or some,
Correct.
or the property next to it.
No, this is the back of this property, as I recall, and I think they were carving out 2 acres to sell to the gentleman that runs the Briar Lake sewage treatment facility.
Yeah, if you look at the survey that is attached, that was the property next to it.
That's next to it?
It shows the sewer treatment plant on the property next to it.
Okay, so that's not
is
this
correct.
property?
That's not the same property.
That is correct. That was
Okay,
Mr.
good.
Joe, who lives in the Briar Lake subdivision.
Right.
He owns the water treatment plant.
Okay.
And just to let you know, I will never build a road to my
Okay.
property in that sewage
So
treatment.
that was
I
the
have
property
spoken to him.
next door?
Yes, he's next
Okay.
door, yes, sir.
Because I remember it had a right-of-way going through it, and I was wondering where the right-of-way was.
It's on Briar Lake Drive.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, I've got it. But anyhow, back to the current zoning. At that time, it was zoned NC4, and the NC4 zoning is there for a reason. You can see all along the highway, as Mr. Rest points out a lot of times, we want to zone commercial along the highway, right? And, yeah, I'm giving you credit for that, Ken. But it's neighborhood commercial. The 3 HC2s that are there have been there for at least 30 years and obviously are grandfathered in. Now, in other parts of Lacombe, we've got some HC2 zoning and we've got some more commercial places. This, I just don't see as the right place for that. I really don't. Another thing, it would make a big difference if Highway 190 was a 3-lane road with a turning lane in it.
That actually is a 3-lane road right there with the turning lane.
Well,
You know, for Briar Lake and for.
Hang on. I understand what you're saying. The two turning lanes, one is for Briar Lake.
One is for Briar Lake
and one is for
currently, and one
Oaklawn
is-
Trace.
Yes.
And that's where the problem was created by the DOTD, and they haven't really fixed it well, and it's still not a turning lane. But
They could fix it for the storage.
if it was a full 3-lane road there with turning, which was suggested to make the whole area 3-lane to cover Dollar General and Jim Stone and anybody else that's there, that might make a big difference. But, well, I can't say it would make a big difference because H2 is not a proper zoning for this NC4 area, in my opinion. So I'm just giving you my opinion. We've got a lot of people in the queue here. Let's go ahead and hear from them first before, see if somebody makes a motion, or I'll come back and make a motion.
Commissioner Gaines.
So my question is, what are you going to do with the back 5 acres?
Okay, very good question. If you look on my diagram, I do have a road access to the back 5 acres.
Saw that.
My wife and I would like to build on the back 5 acres. I would like to have that retention pond on the back 2, or however big it needs to be. The rest of the acreage, me and my wife would like to build a barn dominium and have a garden, in that area. That area will never be used for rental property or me building a house, trying to rent it, sell it, Airbnb, nothing of that nature. It will be for myself and my wife and my family.
That is an all-in commitment.
Yes, and then I would live behind, and retire. That's
Sure.
the plan behind
I do have to agree with my colleague about the zoning and its intention. I also see that there's Jim Stone, which is probably non-compliant right there, because that's not an NC4 zoning, is compliant.
That's
for-
HC2.
No, that's next to it right there. Yeah. That's just according to the map, that's Jim Stone, so.
Yeah, from my understanding, Jim Stone is HC2, and there's also a granite facility that is.
That must be that one.
HC2 also, yes.
No, there's another one that's in the NC4. Yeah, oh, does he? So I kind of have to agree with my colleague, though, on the request to change the zoning to that aggressive of a zoning, because it's not, and just a comment to staff, like, some of the permissible structures in the same zoning as what this would entail are just, a veterinary clinic and an outdoor storage is like, why are we putting those things together? It's just a comment on that. I just think that for that area, this is a fairly aggressive type of zoning. I have to agree with my colleague that I think that is a great idea. I think it is necessary. You want to park it just like, storage units, when you're storing your personal effects, not, motorhomes and stuff. You want that near a residential area as well. Same idea. I just think this particular property might be the wrong property because of the lack of the turning lane and everything. And it's a state highway. So there's zero that we can do about it. There's zero that we can do to make the state or force them to implement something like that to fix it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Understood, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Reyes.
So, a while ago, I'm arguing for an HC on a state highway, and you're probably sitting there thinking, yeah, that sounds good, but unfortunately, the shape of this property and the depth that goes into alongside A3 property, I've got a problem with. I just don't think it's appropriate. Your idea of what you want to put, I wish we didn't ever even know that. I wish they wouldn't even bring that to us, because it shouldn't even be a concern of ours. It should only be the zoning of the property. We should never even have to hear what you're going to put there, because it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Your plan, to me, I think you spent a lot of time, and I think the whole idea of having this is fine, but I don't think the location is appropriate either. I'm familiar with this intersection area. I know it's been a real problem They've redone, trying to get it right, and this area is busy. But it had nothing to do with what you want to do. It really has to do with putting a commercial HC2 zoning on this piece of property. The bordering properties are A3, they're residential areas. I don't like commercial right next to. The last one we had, there was a good buffer of business already between the residents and this piece. So it's not the same to me when I look at it. It has nothing to do with your idea.
No,
it's just the whole zoning change. And until we get away from spending so much time asking questions and about is there enough turning and all the stuff we do, it really is the zoning is what all we should care about at this point. And we keep going through this. Everybody wants, oh, it's going to be loud. Well, it's not going to be loud. It's going to be. We don't know what it's going to be. There's so many choices. You could put a 100-room hotel in here.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I realize that may not be your plan.
No.
But somebody comes to you tomorrow after we rezone it and says, well, I'm ready to give you $5 million for this property because I'd like to put a hotel in there. Well, I don't know if it fits our requirements, but we don't know. But it is a possibility according to this. And I don't think that's what we'd want there either. So in my mind, the zoning itself is the problem, not what you want to do so much, but the zoning. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Troncoso.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think this should go to a vote, and I move that we vote to approve.
We still have two other commissioners that would like to speak.
It's okay.
Okay. Commissioner Seeger.
I'll second that motion.
All right. We have a motion and a second to call for a vote. We got a.
I'm still in the queue.
Pardon? Yeah. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Okay. No, so, Mr. Wilhoff, as you pointed out, the property's NC4 and the 2 acres in the front, and you said it is commercial and something will be built there. More than likely will at some point in time, but it'll be of the NC4 variety on 2 acres, which is what the original intent was,
Sure.
Even across the street, the Dollar General is on an NC5 zone property, not an HC2, which, like I said, the only ones there are the ones that are grandfathered in. So we have a motion to approve, so we can get it to a vote and see how it goes.
Okay, thank you all so much. Thank you for
Well,
your
the
time.
motion was just to call for the vote. Okay, we don't have a motion on the floor.
Oh,
Yes, we do.
yeah, you made a motion to
I made a
approve.
motion to approve.
Yeah.
To approve.
It's the only thing I can do.
Okay, all right. So we have a,
Am I correct in that assumption?
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So we have a motion to approve. Mr. Crawford, do you have a second, or
Mr. Seeger.
Tom Seeger.
Commissioner Truxillo?
No, I'm good.
Seeger seconded.
Uh,
Seeger already seconded.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second to approve.
Correct.
All right, please vote.
The motion to approve failed.
Okay, thank you. All right, we go to item 9. Case is 2023-3385-ZC. Existing zoning is A2 Suburban District. Proposed zoning is A2 Suburban District and MHO Manufactured Housing Overlay. Location, parcel located on the southeast side of West Power Line Road, north of Radar Road, Pearl River, Ward 9, District 9. It's 5 acres. The petitioner's Karen Hess, and the owner's Price Miller. Staff?
The applicant is, the subject property is currently developed with a mobile home, and per section 130-161 is considered to be of legal non-conforming use. The A2 Suburban District calls for a minimum of 1 acre parcel sizes with a density requirement minimum of 1 unit per acre. If approved, the applicant may apply for building permits for the placement of 2 additional mobile homes on the site.
Okay, thank you. Is Karen Hess here? Good evening. So what are we doing? You got
Well-
5 acres.
I need to move in with my dad.
Pardon?
Sorry. I need to move in so that I can help take care of my father. My daughter and granddaughter currently live with me in a home, and so I'm going to have to sell that. And I don't think that I don't think it would be good for my dad if my daughter and my 10-year-old granddaughter and myself all moved in with him. So I just need to put a mobile home on the property for her to live. When I first started this, it was something of 1,000 square feet or less, so that we didn't have to go through the whole restructuring of its own address or whatnot. So that's all I need to do. I've gone around and talked to all of the neighbors that are there, and nobody's against it. They've all said, that's great, that's fine, whatever you need to do.
Okay. We did receive, our staff received, and they forwarded it on from a Justin Douglas Jr. that was, had no objection, so that's entered into the record. Now, you're wanting to change the whole 5 acres to a manufactured housing overlay?
Yes. I think when I talked to Ms. Helen, I think basically the biggest reason was cost-wise. If we ended up having to do something later, if I did just 1 acre, it was almost as much to do the whole 5 acres. And then, when something does happen to Dad, I don't know that his double wide would be sturdy enough to redo, and I would, have to move something else in there without building.
So your dad already has a double wide?
Yes, sir, he does.
And your intent is to move it?
I'm going to move in with him, and my daughter and granddaughter are going to move into the trailer that we want to put on the property.
Where is the double wide? Is it on this property?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to clear on.
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, anyone else want to speak in favor? All right, let's go to the commissioners.
You have one person in the back.
Oh, okay.
You have his card. I don't have a card.
I don't have a card.
I thought it was, maybe it was the letter.
Huh?
You had referred to it before. Maybe it was a letter.
Yes, thank you. I'm Justin Douglas. I didn't think I'd be in town. I'm in town.
Okay.
I live in Mary, but I came on over too. But
Okay.
I'm in favor of it.
Okay, all right, good, thank you. All right, anyone else wish to speak in favor? All right, anyone wish to speak against? Let's go back to the commissioners here. I'm going to close it to the public and go to the commissioners. Commissioner Seeger.
I move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Seeger to approve. Commissioner McInnes.
You can see there's MHO overlay in the area, and the site is pretty darn wet. So having a mobile home elevated is probably not a bad idea for this area. So I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
All right, we go to item 10. Case is 2023-3388-ZC. Existing zoning is A1A Suburban District. Proposed zoning is A2 Suburban District. Location, parcel located at the end of Atwood Road, west of Louisiana Highway 1129, Covington, Ward 2, District 2. It's 1.585 acres. Petitioner is Carroll. The owner is Christopher Carroll. Council District 2. Staff?
The subject property is currently undeveloped and is part of a pending minor subdivision to create a 6.917 acre parcel and 1.585 acre parcel out of the existing 8.502 acre parcel. The property abuts A1A Suburban District to the north, east, and west sides, and directly south lies a 5.31 acre parcel that was rezoned to obtain the A2 Suburban District back in 2013. The purpose of the A1A is to provide for single-family dwellings on 1 unit per every 3 acres on a minimum 3 acre parcel size, while the A2 is density requirement of a minimum 1 dwelling unit per every 1 acre minimum parcel size. Should the request be approved, the applicant may proceed with their minor subdivision to create 2 lots that conform with both the A1A Suburban District and A2 Suburban District.
Okay, thank you. Carrie Carroll? Good evening. Sounds like we're all going to get wet.
Good evening. I'm Carrie Carroll. We live at 19402 Atwood Road, and we have about almost 9 acres, and we'd like to turn 1.58 into the A1 that we're here for, just so that we can have a piece of property to give to our son and his wife to build.
Okay. All right. Anyone else with you wish to speak?
I don't think so. I didn't intend on speaking.
Okay. All right, I'm going to close it to the public and bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Seeger.
I'm very familiar with the area, very familiar with the family. I move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Seeger to approve. Commissioner Crawford. Second by Commissioner Crawford. Any further discussion? Please vote.
The motion to approve carries.
Thank you. All right. We have no new business. See no old business. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Thank you.
Next Wednesday, 9 o'clock, 3rd floor, Building B. Wednesday.